During the weekends that I'm open, I will be working on the painting, which I will be videoing and showing my techniques and the materials that I use. I hope you enjoy watching the video. If there's anything you'd like to ask me about it, can you ring me on 07802 758 430, and I'll try and help you in any way I can regarding it. Okay, enjoy the video. Description of it. As you can see, the picture I'm working on at the moment is a pastel drawing of Skelliff Bridge in the Lake District. You probably saw this in the studio tour video. As I explained before, what we were doing was we were undercoating areas with thin acrylic or watercolour, doesn't matter which, and then applying the pastel over the top. And as you can see in some of these dark areas here, once you come to do the sort of lighter bits over the top, then the dark already exists underneath. It's like having sort of lots of different coloured bits of pastel paper wherever you need it, basically stuck wherever you need. So we've done that. So what I'm doing now is I've done this area over here, or I'm finishing this area over here, and now I'm going to come across. And you can see in sort of dark areas here, this is sort of stonework, it's quite dark. And you can see that I don't really have to do anything but just put a little bit of sort of lighter colour on the top, which then implies the sort of shape of the movement of the stone across the bridge, structure of the bridge. So a lot of the kind of work of sort of filling in the background has already been done for you, so it makes it much quicker. It's much easier to do that. Okay, so I've nearly finished this. I think this is probably enough. And I'm going to do it. You also notice that I put some dark on the top here for the coping stones on the top. You notice when we come down here, there's quite a lot of dark areas we're put in here, and then we've done exactly the same as we've done with the bridge. We've actually used a mid-grey pastel, and we've drawn in basically where the stones are, rocks, and you can see sort of dark areas that have been left. And again, I'm going to use a sort of dark grey to start with, and then get my lighter grey, put some highlights in sort of on the top of the stone where they're wet, or a little bit wet. Don't use your finger ever. Pastel, it's very bad. You apply, you rub your pastel with your finger, you're applying wax to your picture off your finger, which obviously doesn't help. If you have to do any kind of smoothing or any blending where it requires it to be smoother, then I think the whole beauty of pastels is their texture. Let's get some soft tissue, toilet tissue or kitchen towel, and you can just gently nudge the pastel like this, and what happens is that the tissue picks up some of the colour, which you can then reapply sort of further down if you like. So it's basically just smoothing it out slightly, but very, very gently. So I'll leave it there for the moment. I'm going to come across here and start doing some work on these trees. So I'll do that and I'll come back to you later. As you can see, I've kind of emphasised the drawing of the trees here, just outlined them with a bit of brown. I actually use a pastel pencil, a little bit of dark. And what I'm doing now is I'm actually putting some leaves into here. I'm using an orange and just dabbing in, and this is a bit tedious because you don't want to sort of block the whole area in, so you have to make little marks, because obviously the leaves are in the distance, not too close anyway, so they're quite small. But you also have to fill up quite a lot of the area, but not, as I said, it's solid. Okay, so I'm going to leave for the moment and do a bit more work on here, and then come back and talk a bit more. So I'm going back up to the leaves again. I'm using a pastel pencil this time. Pastel pencil doesn't work very well over soft pastel, but then we've still got quite a lot of space here, and what I want is a few more kind of individual marks. And also, I don't have what I think is an appropriate glue in my soft pastels for the moment to do this. This is fine. So I'll be filling in the area a bit more around this area here. Again, trying to follow the kind of branches, so we make the leaves sort of follow the branches. We're going to put the branches in a bit later with some pastel pencil, dark pastel pencil. One thing that the pastel pencil gives you is a slightly more precise mark, so you do get a little bit more idea of the kind of shape of the leaf, if you like. So I'm going to carry on doing this for a while, because it's going to take a little while just to fill in sufficiently, and then I'll come back and we'll start putting some branches and trunks in. Okay, so I've done a few more, or a bit more work to the leaves, and put a bit more dark green in. Now I'm going to start putting some of the branches in. We will put some more leaves in later, but the branches obviously need to be there to give some kind of shape, something for the leaves to sort of get hold of. So I'm going to start and work upwards, filling in using this brown pencil. There are a lot of leaves, a lot of branches here. You need to put in as many as possible. Too many people just don't put enough branches in. Just, you know, let yourself go a bit, because we've got lots and lots of branches coming across in all directions. Okay, so I'll leave it there for the moment. I'll carry on, just do a bit more building up, and then we'll come back and we can start putting some more leaves in. Okay, so I'm a bit happier now with that. As you can see, it's now pushing everything back. The bridge has been pushed back because we've got stuff coming in front of it. And we can come back now and we can put some more with soft pastel. We can come and put some more colour in here. I'm going to use a slightly darker orange this time. I want it to be just a little bit stronger. It does need some more work. It's a bit slow, but I'll leave that for the moment, and we'll come back and probably have a look at sort of something to do with the bottom part, or maybe finish this corner off here. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with the tree now. It still wants a little bit more work, but I'm prepared to leave it just for the moment. I'll balance it all up a bit later towards the end. But I just want to finish off this bottom corner here. I've got some greenery here and some rocks at the front there coming around a bit of water. You can see I've lightened it a bit, probably wants a bit more lightning, a little bit more light on it. I'm just finishing the rocks around here. So I'm going to put the greenery in first. I'm going to use yellow for that around the bottom here. Again, this is more like bushes, so it's different kind of shapes of the leaves. Just push the pastel like this, coming out from around the back of the tree. There's quite a lot of black down here, but don't worry about that, because when the yellow mixes with black, as I said before, it will go green. So that's what we want, with dark green. And we've also got some greenery just on the top of this rock here, so again some yellow in there. I've outlined these rocks with a black pastel pencil just so I can see where they are. And we've got some greenery here in front of this rock here. Again, this is quite light. This is very thin, sort of strandy kind of plant coming up. Again, sort of thin strokes coming up like this. Got a few more down here and a few more in here. Just the yellow. So we've got a bit of shape coming there now. You can see the rocks appearing. We don't want them to be over detailed. That's not necessary in this. This is a pastel. I like pastel because, you know, it gives you a bit of freedom basically. You don't have to be too conscious about sort of getting too much detail. The odd dot and dash here, it's very much like oil painting. It kind of, things happen quite easily in a sense without you having to do too much. And darken behind these rocks here on the bridge. It's quite dark down there, and it will pull these rocks forward a bit. All sorts of colours in here. I'm beginning to sound like Bob Ross. Terrible. And here, just a little bit of drawing. So we filled most of it. And I think I'll probably do for that. I'll come back to it later. So as you can see, I've applied a thin coat of, or rough coat of white pastel, soft pastel, over all this area. Don't worry about the drawing, that's why we've done it dark, and not just to, but also so we don't lose it, reinforce it. Now I'm going to get my tissue, like I said before, soft tissue, I'm just going to gently rub this, blend it. Be careful because you don't want to take the pastel off, which you can do quite easily. And as the pastel builds up on the tissue, it tends to sort of reapply it rather than take it off. So I've nearly done that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some pale blue to it because I want it to look like water. So I'm going to get my tissue again and just gently rub this out. Put the blue into the white. It doesn't matter if it's not perfectly even because we don't want it to be too even, too flat. That's not. There would be a little bit of kind of movement of colour. So you can see it's just going sort of very pale blue colour. Okay, so that'll be fine for that. We don't want to do any more to that. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to mark in where our reflections are. Reflections are quite difficult. You've got to make them look like reflections. They've not got to be an exact representation. They've got to have just a very slightly broken edge, like the leaves here. You can see these are just slightly smeary, and it's the same with the trees and everything else. You don't want them to look too precise. You can see in this corner here, the photograph, it's got this kind of broken edge, and you want to try and apply that to most of the reflections in here. Stones we'll put in later, and this sort of bit up here we'll put in later, but we'll just mark these in, these trees. I'm going to start over here. I'm going to use my brown pencil again, sort of dark brown, sepia. I'm going to draw these in, sort of in kind of horizontal lines like this. Take them right back into the reflected area. So it's like a sort of slightly wavy, broken horizontal line. Okay, so I'm sure you've got the idea of this. I'll leave it here just for the moment and carry on, but that's how we put the reflection in. So I'm going to do all the trees in, all the dark areas anyway, and then we'll come back and look at sort of putting in the foliage. Okay. As you can see, I've now put in most of the trees in the dark. There's probably still a bit more to do to that, but what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to start putting in some of the reflected foliage. I'm going to start with the yellow and keep it quite soft, sort of just rubbing gently into the... As I come out to the edge of the reflected tree here, I'm going to make it a bit more broken. I'm just going to fill in sort of quite a lot of this area, not too solid, still want some light to come through this. Okay, so we're gradually managing to establish the reflections here. They want to be a lot darker, not a lot darker, but darker in here. What I've done here is I'm adding a few branches, because obviously this is wants a little bit of structure. So I'm just broken, very thin. I'm using pastel pencil just to indicate branches in the coming out from the edge of the bridge here. Make these a little bit stronger and down. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to establish my stone here. This is it's got quite a lot of green on it, a little bit of orange. So I'm going to use my orange actual pastel pencil first to draw in the shape of this. And then a black pastel pencil, just going to establish the shape. Showing from a broken edge, top of the stone where it's been reflected. Put this into here, into the black. We want to make this sort of top edge fairly light because we need it to be reflected against the dark here. This could probably be a little bit darker. I might darken this down around the stone in a moment. We have almost got the stone there. Down here I've put in sort of orange, greens, black. I'm going to come back and do a little bit more because I'm going to reinforce some of the branches. This one here, for instance, with a pastel pencil. again, the black going into the sort of oranges and the yellows and the greens, you end up with the colour that you want. And the good thing about pastels is that this is what you have to learn. You cannot, you do not have a palette where you can mix colours together to create the colour that you want. You have to apply the colour one after the other onto the canvas or the paper, which when mixed together will give you what you're wanting to achieve. So it's a good way of learning about colour mixing. I think pastel is a drawing medium, so you're learning about drawing, but you're also learning about mixing colours, which I think is one of the sort of good things about pastels, apart from the kind of freedom that you have in pastels, in terms of not trying to be, I sometimes find it difficult not to become too detailed, and it's sort of built into me a little bit, and I try and use pastels to get myself away from this a bit, but along with other paintings, sunsets, sunrises, I'd like to have my work become a little bit looser, a little bit more kind of creative. So a few more leaves in there, a few more branches. We'll come across here, do a little bit more to this. There's quite a lot in here. I'm going to add a bit more orange into this now. I want this to get a little bit more of this sort of warm colour behind it. So again, I'm going to use a pastel pencil, not this soft pastel. How to do this, just to... Okay, so we're getting there slowly. Come back on a bit more in here. I want to add a bit more kind of... I'm going to use a little bit of soft yellowy orange, just to rub into these areas. Again, like I said, mixing with the black, it's going to give us a slightly greeny effect. And then I'm going to get some green and just kind of finish off some of these kind of bits around the edge, just dotting the broken bits coming away from the tree here with a slightly darker green. So again, soft pastel. Think about some of the areas where there's a little bit more foliage bunched together, especially in this sort of central bit here. Okay, so I think we'll leave that for the moment, and we'll just have a start over here in a moment. So I'll just do a little bit more finishing off, and then we'll come across here. This is quite a big area, and there's quite a lot going on in here. We'll probably do all the stones first, the bits of reflected light, and this corner piece here, and then we'll finish off doing the reflected tree. Okay, so I'm going to come over here now. There's quite a lot of small stones here coming out of the water. I'm going to use my sort of dark grey just to dot in the stones like this, and down towards the water. That's more or less got the stones in place now. Now we have to do a little bit of sort of balancing. We want a little bit of reflection, a little bit of light on bits of them. So I'm going to get some white and just lighten up the odd one. So I'm just creating a little bit more form using the shadow. I could probably use a bit more than that. And there's bits of colour in there as well. I'm going to add just a little bit of some warm colours in here. We've got a little bit of reflected light on from the sun. Okay, so just going to add a little bit of the warm colour now. I'm actually going to use a pastel pencil for this because I don't want it to be too strong. I'm just going to rub sort of bits of colour in here and there, just to give it a little bit of warmth. So, okay, so we're nearly there with that. Just want to darken a few bits over here. Okay, just picking up shape the stones a bit more. Pull this green down, so that's the broken edge here. So we're going to generally tidy that area up, made it a little bit more defined, a little bit more finished. There's still a bit more we can do, sort of. But I'll leave it there. And what we're going to do next is going to deal with this area here. There's quite a lot of sort of greens, vertical greens coming up. This is nice orange flowers, There's this big lump with sort of dark bit and the stones going around. So we'll just do that, finish that bit, and then we'll come down and do this bit, which has got quite a lot of colour in it. Okay, so as I said, we're going to finish off this area here. I've got several layers, this layer, that layer, and then there's bits behind it and some sort of bits coming over the top there. So we've got sort of darks and lights. What I'm going to do is use this pastel pencil, the orange first, and just create a little bit of shaping here. I don't want it again to be too defined. I just want to be careful though. As you can see, this pastel pencil is actually making it a bit soft. I don't really want that just yet, but I'm going to put this in just for the moment, just to get a bit of background colour. Okay, so leave it there for the moment, and I'll finish off with that a bit later. Okay, so continuing with this corner here, we'll carry on with a bit more of the foliage here. We need to kind of darken some of this green a little bit. I'm going to get my green pastel pencil and just do a little bit of texture work here around these nice orange flowers. We need to cut them out slightly because they're actually sort of round shapes. So a bit more of the green, and then I'm going to start with some slightly darker colour, probably the black, again pastel pencil, and then bring the dark into here, and the other branch coming down, stem, a little bit of form. Again, over here we've got some branches going up there. Cut into the sort of edge of this a little bit with some dark, just to again separate it. So we're getting there, nearly getting there with this. Nearly finished this kind of area here. You see it's beginning to come out a bit more. We still need to do a bit more work. We need to put some more yellow dots in, lighten stuff up. We need to just darken up around here a bit more. With a little bit of contrast. As I've said in the past, my mantra, dark makes light. So when you put the dark in, when the light goes against it, it'll show up more, become brighter. Turning the green down a bit. I just need to brighten up the flowers a little bit more. I think I'm going to put some more of the orange in. They've got a bit lost. I'm making a bit more of these flowers in the corner here than there's actually in the photo, because it's a nice bright sort of bit in this dark corner. So I'm putting in probably a little bit more than's actually there. Just come down here and just finish this little bit in here. I could probably use the yellow because it's black down here. You can probably bring the yellow down into the black, so you get a little bit of sort of diminishing green colour. Okay, so I think I'll probably do for that corner now. Needs a little bit more work, but what I'll do is prepare this area down here, and then we'll just do this, the kind of finishing touch down the bottom here. Okay. Okay, so we're getting near the end of the painting now. We've just got this corner to finish off here. There might be a little bit of sort of balancing to do here and there, but basically this is the last main bit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my orange colour, light sort of orange colour, yellow orange. Fill in all this area first. Bring some of it across the trunks. As I said before, don't worry about if it picks up a bit of the dark, that's fine. Take it right down. Okay, so it's getting there slowly. I'm just going to use my pastel pencil for a moment. I want to put some branches in. I've got quite a few branches coming down through here. I've probably got enough in there now. I'll go back over that. So I think I'll put a more of the orange in. I'm going to use the slightly stronger orange this time. Just dab over the top of that, mixing that with the green, softening the branches down a little bit. You can see it slowly coming there, getting darker, a lot darker into this corner. You may have to go back and use some soft pastel. I'm trying to avoid it at the moment. Okay, so we're nearly there with our picture now. What we want to do now is we need to kind of look at the whole painting, drawing, and analyse what we want to do with it, whether we want to darken any more or whether we want to change any of it. But at the moment I'm sort of fairly happy. I think I need to go back and do odd bits here and there, just to darken up, just to tighten stuff up, but not overdo it. What I'll do is then come back and let you see what the finished painting looks like. One thing I will do, I'll perhaps show you that maybe later before I actually finish off, is I'm going to put a kind of glaze over this. Glazing is used mainly in painting, oils, watercolours, acrylics, but this needs just probably a little bit of something coming over the top. I've done a little bit of it here, you can see there, some blue kind of lines, which we're going to take across the top, and what it does is it kind of sets the reflections back into the water rather than sitting on the top of the water, kind of layers them back into the water, which again is another kind of trick, if you like, we need to use to create a painting and give the sort of the effect of what we want. Okay, but I'll probably do that and then come back and or do some of it, and then I'll show you a bit more, and then we can have a look at sort of final painting. Okay, just for this last bit then, as I mentioned before, I'm just going to glaze over this. You can see I've done a little bit there. I've got a pale blue pastel, and I'm just running it in lines across like this, across the top of the drawing. I might not take it all the way to the bottom, I might just fade it out about here somewhere and bring it across the back. It's more really to go over the kind of reflected areas. As I said, I'm probably going to fade this out about here somewhere. What I'm going to do is get my tissue, because it's a little bit too obvious, the lining here, and I'm just going to get a clean bit of tissue, that's a bit dirty, because I don't want to get the water dirty. So clean bit of tissue and use it like a torchon, as I've done before, and just gently rub this out of here. Okay, so I think we'll probably call that it. Like I say, I'm going to just do a little bit of balancing, and then I'll come back and show you what the finished painting looks like. Okay, so as I've said, this is the end of the painting. I've gone back and darkened up some of the branches, just tidied up a few bits here around the bridge, put some shading in there, just toned it down a bit. Other than that, just a bit of colour here and there, and I think that's probably it. So all that's left me to do now is to sign it, which I'm going to do down in this corner here. Not very clear, but that doesn't matter. I don't want my signature to be too obvious. I used a black pastel pencil, just put it in the corner here. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching me do this drawing, this pastel drawing. It's something that I enjoy doing. This is probably perhaps a little bit stylised, but that's fine. I'm quite happy with that, and you know, you judge it as you wish. Okay, thank you for watching the video. Bye.